So you're considering planning an RV trip but never done one before? Well, in this week's video, we're gonna go over some tips that you need to be aware of prior to planning your first RV trip. Cue that intro.
What's up YouTube? Trevi from the Adventure Buddies, the modern travel family, bringing you another video filled with tips, tricks, and inspiration to make sure you maximize your next family adventure, like we always do here at the Adventure Buddies.
So first things first, you need to secure that rental from a reputable RV company. Prior to that though, you need to understand what type and size of RV that you're looking for the particular trip. So you need to consider how many beds do you need, what type of kitchen appliances are required for your trip, and third, what size RV makes the most sense. So a couple things to consider when picking size is what are you comfortable with driving? So for instance, we took a 23 footer and we were able to actually park in normal parking spots, had no problems with certain clearances that you may encounter, but also making sure that we had the RV that was suitable for most RV parks as well as most national park entrances, because believe it or not all can fit. So make sure you do a little bit of research in planning out what type of RV that's best suitable for your trip. So the next step is making sure that you understand where you're actually going. So it seems simple, but making sure logistically your route makes sense is gonna help save you on gas, which is probably one of the most expensive pieces of the RV trip. So not only should you plan that out from a logistical mileage standpoint, but if this is your first time, we recommend that the first couple campsites is actually an RV park. Why? Because this is actually gonna be helpful in making sure that they have all the hookups that you need, whether that's power, whether that's septic, and they also have a really cool RV community that oftentimes has helpful people to make sure that if you do have any questions or run into any problems, the RV community is there to help. We found this group of people extremely helpful. So coming off on this tip too, the other thing that we recommend for the first couple stops, we recommend you getting there before it gets dark. Making sure that you have clear visibility in parking and setting up that RV is gonna make your life a whole lot easier. So if you don't really utilize the kitchen in the RV, you're gonna be paying unnecessary costs. So making sure that you plan out all your meals prior to going on the trip is really gonna be helpful. But when you're doing this, you need to make sure you take inventory of the utensils, of the amenities inside that RV, and make sure that you pack anything that you need that RV doesn't have. Because going on the RV trip, pulling out all this stuff, and then realizing you don't have that pot or that pan that you need is unnecessary expenses that you're gonna incur by having to dine out. And our last tip that may be self-explanatory, but really making sure that you fully understand how to utilize and empty that septic tank prior to going on that trip is going to be crucial. But if you are traveling with kids, we urge you to make sure that bathroom breaks are emergency only. Otherwise, one, it's gonna smell, and two, emptying out that septic tank is never fun. So making sure that you keep those things in mind are going to help make sure that your RV trip is an enjoyable one. And so there you guys have it, a couple tips on how you can effectively plan out your first RV trip. So if you like this video, please consider giving us that big thumbs up. Comment down below where would be the first location you take your RV. And if you do enjoy this content and you're looking for more travel tips and adventures, please make sure to hit that red subscribe button down below because we've got some awesome content coming your way. And so I'm Matt from the Adventure Buddies, and remember, life's an adventure. Who are you going on it with?